to HBO Girls Rewatch. I'm Amelia.
And I'm Evan with a haircut.
And today we are joined by a
dear friend. One of our first friends in the city.
Yeah, literally one of our first mutual friends in the goddamn city.
Friend
of the pod for real. We're not
friend of the pod for real. Before I even met Amelia, I met Cole like 2 weeks apart, but we kind of all met at the same open mic.
Yeah.
Literally.
2 gays, 1 mic.
But listen up, y'all. Put your listening.
Listen up, y'all. Because this is it.
Cole
Prots is here with it.
Hey, Cole.
Hi, divas. Thank you for having me.
We're literally so excited. This episode's a little bit different. It's a little bit special. Cole is kind of actually an astrologer and a really famous one too.
You may have seen them on TikTok.
Once or twice.
I love when you talk on TikTok not as you but as the moon.
Thank you.
So powerful. And as you, but especially when you're a moon, I am listening.
Well, I think wait, are there certain words I am and not allowed to say?
Say whatever you want on this.
I feel so cunt when I put that green screen filter on. I was like, that big full moon, just my eyes and my mouth. I'm like, baby, I can emote so much with just like moving my mouth.
Right, you're like, I'm doing so much character work right now.
Well, and also, listen, we have to play the social media game. That is where I get my most views.
Really?
People, for some reason, people see me and they're like, oh, a balding twink. I got to swipe. But they see the moon and they're like, I'm here. I'm present. I'm watching.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, you know what? This is what I would say. I completely forgot my thought. When you were like, can I use any word? I'm like, they're going to say cunt.
Wait, yeah. And then maybe the F slur might fall in here once or twice.
I will say we have a small percentage of boomer listeners who might be sensitive to swear words, but they've never contacted us because I don't think they know how.
That's okay. That's their
challenge to the boomers. Reach out.
Yeah, if you're listening, find out how you can interact in the podcast space. It's a little quiz. But no, we are so excited to have Cole on today to get this. Read the signs of all the girls.
Oh my God.
I insert an explosive sound effect, fireworks.
Well, the drag queen boom, as I call it. Yeah.
When we first started this show, we were coming up with ideas. We're pitching, and we're like, we're going to need 12 different sound boxes right here to press throughout the show. It's like, I'm the voice of a generation.
Cole, can you, to get us started, tell us about your journey with astrology?
Yeah. Ooh. So I was raised Catholic, like many boys in the Midwest.
Moment of silence.
Moment of silence.
And back at
it. But being raised Catholic, I always felt kind of like disjointed from the organization of spirituality. But I have my own experiences and my own moments where I was like, I know that I'm like a witchy spiritual person, but it's not this. And it was in high school and then throughout college where I started to like learn about astrology more and more esoteric forms of spirituality. And it was fabulous for me because it was the first time that I saw, I'm allowed to exist in whatever capacity I do naturally, as opposed to trying to fit in a box, because that is what the universe has in store for me. And it was during the pandemic, I was working for, I won't name the beauty company, but a very large beauty company that was very toxic and not a great work environment.
But if you want to send us an ad, we're totally down for that.
But Glossier, we want to work with you.
It wasn't Glossier. It was a different one. Starts with the letter L and is very French. You can do the math. Did not like the environment. And I was just like, you know what? I need something to make myself laugh. Because during the pandemic, it was very dark. Didn't like my work environment. The world was just fucked up. And I just started posting really satirical, like astrology shit on the internet, because it was the first time that I saw wide groups of people discussing astrology and esoteric spirituality, because my world for so long was just like, it is Catholic, it is Christian, it is, like there's only an organization that you have to follow. So I was like, wait, I know about this shit. I think I'm funny every once in a while. So I just started posting just random shit. And then people were like, wait, would you read my birth chart? And I was like, yeah, I would. Here's the dollar amount that you can pay me for that. And I've been self-employed now since 2021, doing astrology full time.
I just know everybody at home is taking notes.
Take notes.
I love that you were in Catholicism and you're like, I do love the spiritual realm, but this can't be it.
It was not it. I was just like, why do I have to become a better, like the only way that you can become a better person in theory through Catholicism is going to what is it? Confession, I think is.
Yeah.
And that's where you tell this crotchety old man the bad things that you've done, like, calling my sister a bitch and, stealing $20 from my mom.
Yeah, you're like 12 and you're in there. What's going on?
Exactly. And I'm like, why is that what's making me a better person when I could, in theory, just go up to someone and say, I'm sorry. Can we talk about it?
It probably has a lot more impact if you actually apologize to someone.
As opposed to like praying the rosary like 50 times. Yeah.
When I was like 14 and I was like, I'm born of sin, I met a baby. They're really sweet. I was so
Exactly.
like, I was like, let me put my thinking cap on for a second.
Wait a minute.
I'm like, I actually don't think I'm evil. I think I'm a really nice girl. And I think my natural inclinations are to be actually.
Correct her. Apologize.
I'm so
and do
sorry
a
for correcting.
rosary.
I will never correct
Do
a
your
woman again.
rosary.
It's actually to be nice and not evil. So what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
But that is so fun that you were then able to kind of channel that energy into kind of the beautiful world of astrology.
It's great. I think that I still celebrate and respect anyone who has their own religious faith, any sort of practice, because I think ultimately at the end of the day, it's all different pathways to the same location. We're all trying to go to, and if you don't believe in a better place, all power to you. But we're all trying to be the best version of ourselves and end up, on our deathbed, at peace ultimately. And I think regardless of what you practice, as long as that practice holds happiness, joy, and love at like the forefront, then I think it's completely beautiful and valid. So,
Cole, you're so charismatic. You literally speak like a politician for astrologists.
Literally, the way I usually am like, you're giving me full body chills to anyone who ever says anything to me, but I'm kidding. But when you just spoke right now, I literally, this whole half of my body got chills somehow.
Girl, that's a stroke.
It's like, and the podcast is over. We're calling 911.
Yeah, but no, we thought it'd be so fun to kind of marry astrology and girls together because it's like we have to know what's up with Marnie. So pivot.
Hard pivot to Marnie.
So hard pivot, but ask the question of
how did you discover girls?
I discovered girls through this lovely podcast.
Woo!
Stop.
Dead ass.
Yeah.
So my raised Catholic.
Well, that's actually the other reason Cole took so long to get on here because I was like, I would love to have you on. You're like, I'll watch the show.
No, I literally binge watched the entire show in like I think it was like 2.5 weeks.
I'm not remembering this. There was 2 weeks where Evan was like, Cole is texting me every day about girls. They just found out what's happening.
Yeah.
I love you getting your mind blown for the first time and being so fresh off of this. It's so perfect.
Oh, listen, I have to say off the bat, anyone who says that the girls are like horrible people, you've never been in your early 20s in New York City. Listen, I was a horrible listen, the extreme of some of the things they do I agree with? No. However, the motivation behind a lot of the things they do, I get it.
Yeah,
I've been there. I've been like 21, 22 in New York City and like an absolute fucking mess.
It's called being a girl.
It's being a girl.
Well,
we're all just girls.
They're not in prison except for their own minds.
Well,
and that's different.
And really,
they're not locked up.
Their own mental jails.
That is crazy. I'm such in a mental jail.
Every day.
I get really sad.
Wait, does it get? I know you're only a year older than us, but does it get easier?
Aren't you?
I'm
gonna
leave that for you to discover. Wait, am I a year older than? I thought I was like 2 years older than y'all.
25. You're 26.
26. Oh, fabulous.
Oh my god.
Wow, the gap is not as large as we thought.
Actually this happens every time I reveal my age to you. You're like,
I always assume,
and it's been 8 years, and it's like, no, I'm only a year younger than you.
And I was like, you're 18 and I'm 40. That's how I feel sometimes.
I think I look really young because I use a lot of retinol.
Yeah, and you got a haircut. Comment below if you like Evan's haircut.
I know. I hate to say this, and it sounds narcissist, but I actually think I came out as hot. I posted a recent Instagram photo, and a buzz I got, and it sounded people reaching out, being like, "This has changed everything for you."
Wait, the twink one?
Yeah, the photo I just posted today.
And by the way, I took all 3 of those photos, and the setting is my bed.
Amelia was like, "We have to make it American Apparel," so she literally ripped all the posters off her wall so we could have white walls.
I was
That's
like,
a sister.
That's
a sister
Amanda
right
Seyfried, get out of here. I was like, Lord, get out. We gotta do American Apparel.
The 3 Heim sisters are somewhere in a trash can right now.
I'm like, my friend Tessa Bell is in my Brandy Belleville pajamas. We gotta get her.
Move.
We gotta get the shot. No, we love it. Wait, so are you loving girl? You finished all the way through?
I finished all the way through. Yeah.
Oh my god. Well, we have an amazing question to ask you. Girl, what girl are you?
I think at the current state of my life, I'm very Shoshanna. Just kind of like always kind of like doing something different, a little bit overthinky. I think Shoshanna has the best head on her shoulders, and maybe that makes me a narcissist, so you could call me a little bit Hannah in that sense.
You're being so true.
But I think that where I'm at in my life, Shoshanna. That being said, when I was watching the show, when I was like, you know what? When I was, freshly in New York City, who was I like?
No, I know.
Jessa.
Oh, you know what?
Who are you thinking?
Hannah.
Um,
You really, and this is from an outsider perspective looking in, just an
Fair.
outside report, but you do have a little Hannah energy because you know
I
what?
do have Hannah energy.
The way you operate through the town, it's like you know exactly what you want, and that we see that. It's recognized.
I think my sentiment towards Jessa is because I like to party.
Ooh.
And I like when I first moved to New York, I was like, this is the first fucking time in my life that I can go out, try new things. I was like, and I had like a lot of shit that I was not working through at the point in time, which
as we all know, Jessa loves to not work through stuff.
Famously loves to not work through stuff.
That's her whole deal.
That's her whole
She's
shtick.
like, and I don't want to learn anything new.
She's like, growth? No. Cocaine? Yes. But I definitely do feel, I would say, I agree with like the Hannah sentiment. I think that there is a part of me that can be very like tunnel vision and very much like, this is what I want to get done. This is what I want to achieve. I mean, shit, this summer I was like working and I was like, no one saw me for like 2 months.
No, when you need to get something done, you get it done, Cole.
But like then it's like my whole entire world and I forget like, oh, you have friends. You should socialize. The only person I don't relate with is Marnie.
Totally.
All tea, all shade. If you are Marnie, respect, love, celebrate. She's the one girl that I'm like, really? Really, Marnie?
Respect, love, celebrate.
Love Marnie. Respectfully so.
It's really hard to be a girl like that.
What's difficult about being a girl like that?
It's just really hard to be brunette like her. And
Really?
you have to remember
famously the thing most girls are.
Brunette.
Her dad literally abandoned her. And have you met her mom? Rita Wilson isn't the most kind girl.
Okay, but she kind of, listen, I think that her mom kind of is like, hey girl, you need to get your shit together.
And
hey girl.
ultimately, Marnie does.
Does she?
She needs to get her shit together. Oh, no. She needs to. She
got
doesn't.
it. She doesn't. I was
To
like,
be clear, she does not.
I like to pretend that she did after the show ended.
Me too.
Yeah, we missed her coming of age film. We missed when she figured it all out.
I think she picked it back up with Megan. I think she was making robots afterwards. She went to Vassar. She got a robotics degree. She's doing her damn thing, and she made a robot that's trying to kill her.
That's an amazing
niece.
theory. It's like Megan is the sequel to Girls for Marnie. Like that is Marnie with her niece.
It really kind of is.
Marnie would be bad with kids too. It's perfect.
She's really
I think they would
caring
all
with
be
Hannah's
bad with
child.
kids.
Well, we watch Hannah be bad with kids.
Well,
And
and we watch Jessa be
we
bad
have
with
to
kids.
we have to save that for the later episode.
Save that for the later episodes.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna try not to spoil
Can
her
you
too
add
much.
this we said this beginning, but we did say spoiler alert.
Oh yeah, okay.
Spoiler alert.
Before we get into the episode, we just want to do a quick spoiler alert. This is an astrology episode where we will be looking at the girls throughout the entire series and in the way that it relates to the stars in the sky. So if you are watching from the beginning and do not want anything spoiled, beware.
That's mostly for my dad.
And let's dive into the episode. Cross dissolve.
Not the cross dissolve.
She's my PowerPoint friend.
That is my favorite filter to use, or like transition. Cross dissolve. What is the other one?
3 stripes. I love 3 stripes.
I love swipe left.
Swipe left. What's the? Is it just
Spiral.
called fade?
Oh yeah,
fade. I love
like
a
to do,
caption fade.
I like a 3-second fade.
Ooh, you're spicy. Cole.
I like a 3-second. I like it to be like just slow enough that it kind of feels like.
You know that's the industry standard.
3 seconds?
Yeah.
Period. I'm industry standard.
This is an amazing drag queen name.
Well, instead of asking,
welcome to the stage industry standard.
Instead of asking what girl we are, I think we should say our zodiac. We should all say our zodiacs, and then we should dive into the girls' zodiacs. Do we feel good about that?
I love that.
All right. Well, what are you?
So, I will preface. You said just sun sign. I like to go overboard because I'm an Aries moon. I like to go extreme. I did give their big 3. So I broke down their big 3.
Perfect.
Girls, we are so lucky.
You are so blessed. You said, here's the homework assignment. And I said, I'm going to give you extra credit. Extra fucking credit. I'm a Gemini, famously a Gemini.
Sun.
Gemini sun, Aries moon, Virgo rising.
Mm-hmm.
So some days you're going to get...
Rising. I thought rising was sun, of course.
It's
not.
No.
And I don't know anything about astrology. That's why we have you.
So, quick little, because then we're just going to focus on sun and rising.
Well, really quickly, can you explain really quick
that'd be
what
awesome.
the sun is, what the moon means, and what the rising means?
So your sun sign, that is what most people know. That is what your birthday is, and it represents your core ego, core identity, the energy that you'll always revert back to, like in your purest state. So me as a Gemini sun, I'm talkative, communicative, iconic, legendary, witty, funny, but also super scattered and like all over the place. The moon represents your emotions, your emotional body, how you react to things, what you need for a sense of security. So me as an Aries moon, I first and foremost need a lot of independence, but I also can be very emotionally reactionary. Something pisses me off, I'm like, huh! Like the other day, my boyfriend, if you're listening to this, hi Yanni. I was like really stressed and I was cooking and I dropped the spatula and I just like screamed, fuck! Like just and he was like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Like the second after. That's very Aries moon. Aries moon is like emotion, get it out, and then like we'll just move forward. And then your rising sign, it's not a planet. It's the constellation that was rising over the eastern horizon at the time you were born. So that's why astrologers were always like, what is your birth time? As close to accurate as possible. So it represents kind of how you instinctually exist, how you show up in the world, how you navigate, and how you perceive it. So me as a Virgo rising, I'm hypercritical. When you first meet me, I kind of tend to be like a little bit more wallflowery, kind of observe, see how I can jump in the scenario, but very service-oriented, hardworking, trying to make sure that I can find purity and perfection and ways to heal. And the rising sign is the sign that you should really pursue a lot of in your life to rise into, pun intended, the best version of yourself.
Wow.
Sun, moon, rising.
Again, chills only on the left side.
Get that checked out.
We're all just having strokes. So I am an Aries sun.
Love.
And I am exactly that. I'm like, fuck! Anyways, should we go get a coffee?
Yeah.
And then I'm a Scorpio moon.
I knew you had Scorpio in your chart.
So then I'm kind of like randomly like...
Ooh.
And that's for the video watchers.
Which we had to eliminate from Spotify.
And then I am a Cancer rising, which I don't know a lot about.
You have the same big three as my boyfriend.
Oh my
God. He's an Aries sun, Scorpio moon, Cancer rising.
Damn. So you probably know like a lot about my whole thing.
Yeah. Intense, but like really just wants a hug at the end of the day.
That's so
Aww.
mean.
Loves to snuggle up and like bundle up. But also like if someone crosses you,
oh,
baby, it's game over. Piss this
so
diva
real.
off, and baby, you will remember, and you will never see them again because you're probably 6 feet under.
There are people that wronged me 6 years ago that have recently just like stepped into the state of New York,
Oh,
and I have been like, oh, we're at war.
You never forgets anything.
Never forget. Evan, what about you? What are your big three?
My sun sign is Gemini.
Oh, I thought you said I was like Demi Lovato. Are you a Lovatic?
My moon is Selena, and my rising is Bridget Bendler.
Period.
Ooh, Disney stars. Okay, and then my moon sign is Scorpio.
Period.
And then my rising
We're
is
both
Gemini.
Scorpio moon.
But I say all this and I'm like, I can't reenact like Amelia did. I can't give a 3-woman act play like she just did because I don't know what any of that meant.
Right. Well, you will after today.
Well, after today, yeah. Gemini. We talked about Gemini sun, witty, iconic, legendary. Gemini rising, social. I love a Gemini rising because you're the type of person where I'm like, oh, I have to go somewhere with a lot of strangers. I'm going to bring you with me because a Gemini rising ultimately wants to communicate, wants to meet people, wants to throw out witty retorts. But that Scorpio moon,
that is so you.
That adds like that that mysterious like depth that Evan has. That sort of like, what's going on there? There's
I don't know either.
There's something curious happening in that little noggin of yours. Scorpio moons tend to be very, very private. So I would assume that it would take you if something's going wrong in the apartment, it might take a minute for y'all to be like, hey, should we sit down and talk about it?
Yeah, some things are just coming to the surface.
Oh, I didn't know.
I was like, wait a minute.
I'm not really a private person. I'll tell my deepest secrets to the first. I've never met someone before. I
but
won't
no,
tell my deepest secrets.
when something happens emotionally to you, you literally will not talk about it for 2 days, and then you'll be like, "Oh yeah, that made me feel like this."
Well, I need time to process.
That's
Yeah.
very Scorpio moon.
Yeah.
Take that time to process.
Yeah.
Build out the trust.
Ooh, okay, that was so fun.
Okay, that was so fun.
What? Okay, who do you want to start with?
Okay,
Let's start with Jessa.
let's start with
Jessa. Jessa's my favorite. I have
This
a
is
few options for
perfect.
Jessa. We'll get into it.
Ooh, okay, so we're gonna go through each of the girls one at a time. We're starting with Jessa.
I would guess she's a Gemini.
Mhm.
I would guess she is a Gemini.
Okay, so I didn't have Gemini for Jessa.
Okay.
Okay.
However, I did have the sister sign Sagittarius as her moon because we see Jessa a lot is, well, we talked about it. She hates addressing her feelings and
She
hates getting
really-
to the surface. And though Sagittarius moon is a very wise, like some of the things that Jessa says, you're like, wait a minute, are you intelligent and like really, really wise and smart through your experience, but actually just avoiding all of the shit underneath the surface? So I had her as a Sagittarius moon, which is the sister of Gemini, very, very similar.
Okay, so we did okay, guessing.
Yeah,
Wait,
close.
they have sisters?
Yeah, all
There's
the
a
sisters.
family tree?
What's an Aries sister sign?
Libra.
Oh my god, wait. I
Ooh.
literally, every time I have one coworker, like when I
That's
worked
a
at a
Libra?
receptionist, Libra. It's
Libra.
like, oh, I'm like at the coffee shop, like working with this person, Libra,
Every
every time.
podcast assistant is a Libra. We're learning.
I believe that. Yeah, there's the sister signs.
What makes them a sister sign?
So in astrology, we work with like a 360-degree circle,
Mhm.
right? And 180 degrees is completely
Oh.
opposite. So when a sign is opposite, it makes it the sister. So you have Aries, 180 degrees separated is Libra.
It's like a
Then you have-
complementary color.
Exactly. Great way to
And
look
it's
at
perfect because you can celebrate your birthday on their half birthday.
it. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. That's the tea, baby. Yeah. So the complementary sister signs. Sister signs are always work very, very well together.
Sagittarius.
So I had Jessa as a Sagittarius moon. I had her as a Taurus sun. And the reason I
Okay.
had her as a Taurus sun is when you think about Jessa.
She's really stubborn.
Well, she's incredibly stubborn, but she also seems like that kind of person who really doesn't want to like plan or think forward.
Yeah.
And she's kind of just like, I'm here in this moment. What do I want? And what's going to make me feel good? And Taurus energy is very stabilizing, earthy, present, grounded energy. It's like,
she is so that.
here is where I am. This is what I need to feel good about myself and to experience the world.
Whoa.
And then I had her as a Pisces rising. So Taurus sun, Sagittarius moon, Pisces rising.
Okay.
Why? Pisces risings are messy.
Ah!
Pisces energy. So if Virgo is the sister of Pisces, Virgo is all about purity and health. Not to say that all Pisces are like not healthy, but the flip side of that, the sister of that is like the dark side. So substance abuse, intoxication, always like evasiveness of your issues by turning to certain things.
Wow.
So for her to kind of like always naturally show up in that state of like, well, yeah, I'm going to be high today. Yeah, I'm going to go have, a fifth of whiskey by myself, whatever it might be. So Pisces rising, especially when you pair together the consideration of she avoids her feelings. She would prefer to be like, go, doing a bunch of things, experiencing the world. I think Taurus sun, Sagittarius moon, Pisces rising makes sense for her.
Whoa.
That does add up. And the rising is the thing that you want to like step into as you get older.
Yeah.
So if we're looking at the arc of the series,
Mhm.
how do we think Jessa like is being that way?
I think the beauty of Pisces comes through this concept of like to serve or to surrender, right? Where you kind of have to be willing to let go of your ego as a Pisces and with Pisces energy in order to really embrace that Piscean service energy and that really healing energy that can come from Pisces, which says, hey, I'm tossing my hands up. I'm admitting that I don't have control and I'm not able to do that. I don't really think that Jessa did the whole lot of that towards the end of the season series, but I
would
think
say maybe that one scene when they're all gathered in the bathroom, Shoshanna's engagement party or bridal party or whatever it is. She's kind of more surrendered in that space.
I think in that space
after
where
the movie.
I mean, and I will also say, I feel like week to week we have brought up multiple times, like, yes, Jessa is so this and so like messy, but then she'll say these really elegant lines to her friends that are actually really helpful.
Mhm.
And like she is showing up for them and like actually giving them good advice, even if it's through this kind of like
all the
sardonic
experience
lens.
really is playing out.
And
Yeah.
I think when I do shameless plug, I do astrology readings. We're going to talk about it again. Whenever I talk to people with Piscean energy, I always say, and any sort of water sign energy really, which is Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio, you have such an affinity for, right, healing and nurturing the world, right? Jessa has that capacity to be present like a Taurus sun with people when she sees that there's pain. It is so hard for a Pisces to accept and acknowledge their own pain and their own suffering,
Oh
right? Which
my
is
God.
part of the learning of Pisces, where for her, what I would have loved
is
for that
so
arc
Jessa.
is like maybe having that like like a really true coming to Jesus moments. I think we get like little moments of it, like even when she's with Adam and they're like beefing it out and like, I mean, throwing shit and like fighting, like there are moments where, you know, she breaks down and you're like, oh, is this going to be like a turning point? And I think that's the Pisces kind of like seeping through a little bit, but then she just kind of like reverts back. So I think she always tiptoed towards that Pisces sense of like, you know what, I have to surrender. I have to acknowledge that I can't just keep navigating and going through the motions. Because when we think about the symbology of, is that right?
No,
Symbolism?
symbology.
When we think about the symbology.
We need a dictionary at the end of this podcast with all the words
All
we
the words we
created.
decided to create.
And you're about to get 40 of them in this episode.
Thank God.
When we think about the symbology of Pisces, it's two fish that are constantly like, you know, chasing each other and circling each other.
Oh.
So, you know, that cycle of like, ooh, keep going, right? And it's supposed to be the cycle of like death and rebirth in a sense, because Pisces is the last zodiac sign before we start the new astrological calendar. So I think Jessa always tiptoed to that spot, especially when she got in moments that I think her Taurus energy was like, oh shit, I'm not safe. Like it was like, I'm actually kind of going a little bit too far.
Right.
But I don't think she ever really truly had that coming to Jesus moment.
Yeah, because you know
that she
what?
should
We
have.
see like even this season, it's like
You have an eyelash. Keep
Oh,
going.
God. She went to rehab at the end of last season and she's back and it's like she's kind of better, but she didn't learn anything. She didn't fully surrender. Nothing really changed her. And then of course we see she just relapsed in the part we're at with Jasper or whatever. And it's just like very much like we see this. I feel like Jessa's arc in the 3 seasons we've seen so far has been so like up, down, up, down, up, down. And like she doesn't have the friends with the knowledge to be like, this is what you're doing. This is what you're running away from.
Yep.
Let's push through this pattern and like learn something new about ourselves. Like when you're 22, you don't have friends that know how to navigate that for you.
Well,
Yeah.
So I feel like she is kind of trapped in that like up and down the whole series.
I'm like tired hearing. Not like tired of you.
Like,
but,
I'm
like,
tired of talking about
but,
Jessa.
like, her, like thinking about her is just like so exhausting. This girl isn't learning a lesson.
Yeah.
It's hard to watch. I mean, it's entertaining, but
It's
sad.
great TV, but
And that's why
it's
people really don't like
devastating.
the 6th season because none of them learn. I mean, people learn a lesson, but not enough. But you really made me make a point. Like she's not stepping into her rising sign, to use your point. It's like she is not becoming this better version of herself.
Well, and something that I always like to think about with astrology is there's like, it's because I'm a Gemini. One day when I write a book, I'm not going to say the name of the book, but I want to talk about.
I'm just kidding.
There's always this like the shadow side and like the light side of each of the zodiac signs, and the shadow side of Pisces is kind of this very deep. Not to say I don't think she's self-deprecating at all, but this sort of like self-harming type energy of like going into the cycles and like letting yourself kind of exist in that space of like, oh, it's just the way it is, you know, it's just life throwing its curveballs at me. And I guess this is all that I can do to like really adapt with it. Whereas what Pisces says is like, you know what? The pure side of Pisces is like, I have this affinity and this attraction to certain toxicities. I have to make sure that I don't lean towards those and that I am actively acknowledging the root of where that tension is coming from, because Pisces lives in such an ethereal space, like such like their own. Whenever I talk to Pisces, I'm like, do you daydream a lot? You just like lose yourself in your own world. They're like, yeah, all the fucking time.
That's so Jessa.
Well, and because she lives in her own world, that's where I think we get those like little bits every once in a while of that Taurus grounding her. But I think she just lives in too much of a Pisces You made an interesting point. Gemini, thinking
I
she's
was about
Gemini.
to say the same thing. Yeah.
In astrology, all of the planets move at different speeds, different times. The sun sign is never too far away from Venus or Mercury. And Venus and Mercury are 2 personal planets. They represent communication and then like love. If the sun is in Taurus, Venus and Mercury are either going to be in Aries, Taurus, or Gemini. So I would lean to the fact that her Gemini or her Venus, her Mercury are probably in Gemini. And she like just that Taurus sun that comes through every once in a while.
Well, I think Amelia and I's impulsion to say that she's a Gemini is because we see her have, again, this flip-flopping between these different, like she says one day she is going to get clean and like live this better life, and she gets this job working at a children's store, and the next she's like reindulging herself in substances and like hooking up with this old guy and stealing money from the business, or it's like she's not consistent. She has the tumult. But what you're explaining also makes a ton of sense. Like she is just
Yeah, I honestly said it because I feel like there is a trope in the online space that Geminis are the worst sign, and you have to run.
You
have to run away from them. You have to run away from them. Don't let a Gemini in their life. They will come and blow things up and disappear. And Jessa does seem like that type of girl.
This is just a follow-up question of that, but as someone who is also a Gemini, fellow Gemini, so much of my life, I was so much more nervous to come out as a Gemini than gay to people. And then I kind of ran into this wall where we're kind of living through a Gemini renaissance, I would say, where people are actually kind of leading like, you know what? Actually, all along, I was in a closet about, but actually I really did like Geminis all along. You know, my closest friends are Gemini. And I think because it was so like tropish, it's like pit bulls. Yeah. Geminis were pit bulls for so long. We were like, no, pit bulls are evil. People are eating people. And then we're like, no, pit bulls are actually the coolest dog because they got such a rebel little rouser around them. And now we're like, JK, we love Geminis, but it's like everyone's a little secretive about it.
Well, what so when we think about the symbology of the zodiacs. Gemini is one of 3 signs that is represented by a physical human person. But Gemini is the twin. Right? So you have the 2 sides of humanity, the good and the bad.
Do they have names, the twins? Sorry.
Wait, what?
Do the twins have names?
Gemma and Nye.
Are you kidding?
No. I don't know.
Gemma?
I don't know. I just made that up. The twins' names are Gemma and Nye.
The whole time
my jaw dropped. Cole, my jaw dropped. Gemma and Nye.
Like, it's Gemma and Nye. The whole time.
Like,
it's right there.
Gemma and Nye.
Duh, obviously.
That's how we go for Halloween. It's Gemma
and
Nye.
Period.
Right now, our Halloween costume ideas is to both be Lorelai Gilmore.
From the same scene.
From the same scene.
The same exact scene.
Yeah, because
and then show up to the party at different times and get in a fight. That is Gemini energy.
I ordered one tie-dye t-shirt and they sent me 2. So
oh, perfect.
It was written in the stars.
It's written in the Gemini stars.
Yeah.
Gemini.
Well, okay. Jessa is
Taurus sun, Sagittarius moon, Pisces rising.
I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself, Cole.
A stubborn mess.
A really stubborn mess.
I'm gonna blow my nose.
Is kind of smart.
Yeah.
But you guys
kind of smart. A little bit of wisdom, a little bit of knowledge. Yeah, I see Gemini for her. It makes sense.
I do think she like cares for Hannah and Shosh in a very wise way, even though she is so unable to help herself.
Well, and that's to all my Pisces listening out there. Pisces is always going to want to take care of someone else before they take care of themselves, because there is that instinctual sort of like, I have to serve the world, be of service to the world.
Right.
But it's super, super difficult for Pisces to be in their, well, not be in themselves because they love to like live in their own world, but like actually acknowledge like, ooh, maybe there's something wrong. Maybe I should help myself and like actually stay in rehab and take it seriously.
But do you feel like Gemini's, I mean, do you feel like Jessa's actually helping others?
I think so.
I think she has her moments. I think she has a lot of moments where I'm like, she's really wise and she has like a really good perspective. Like, I don't know if you're at this point in the watch.
It's okay, go for it.
Where Adam like walks off of the set and she's like, you should make your own movie. Like that one, and then they have like the crazy sex. That's like a moment, like she does things like that where she has a very encouraging spirit and she has a very optimistic spirit, and
totally
she like has this energy of is like no, like she believes in everyone so much. I just don't think that she believes in herself.
The Bushwick Cracksidon episode? What did you say?
It sounds like she has terrible ADHD to me.
Oh, so true. Yeah.
Where it's like Shoshanna's on crack and she's like, I actually know how to help this girl. I have to leave for a second to talk to this other man. Can we just like make sure she doesn't get fingered by a DJ, please?
Yeah.
Like she's like, I know what's happening and I know how to help this girl. Like, let's make sure this is what doesn't happen to her.
Like, fingered by a DJ.
Fingered by a DJ.
I want so many words in a dictionary after today.
Yeah. That's a good one.
I think that's enough on Jessa. Should we move on to our next girl?
Yeah, I'm having impulse for Shoshanna after Jessa.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Wait, what do you think Shosh is?
Yeah, what do you think Shosh is?
Libra. And I just said that because I like the word.
I think she is a
Aries.
I think she's a fire sign, sun, or she has some.
Just list all of them.
She has fire in her chart.
And I'm really seeing that as well, but she could also be a Taurus at the end of the day. You know,
I know, wait, we're putting so much pressure on ourselves to guess when we barely know anything about any of the signs.
And I love that. I love whenever I was like, what do you know about astrology? And someone's like, nothing. I was like, okay, great.
No, they
Answer
always
this.
work on idiots so they can ask the stupid questions so the idiots at home can also figure it out too.
Yeah. The way we started guessing and you just started smiling like we were young children. Discovering the world for the first time.
Literally.
No, give it to us. What are her three
Hold my
songs?
hand.
Okay, so I had Shoshanna as a Capricorn sun,
Ooh.
Gemini moon, Gemini rising.
I saw that coming a mile away. I saw that coming a mile away. Oh my god.
I know a Capricorn and I could totally see that.
So the reason that I had Shoshanna as Capricorn, Gemini is because one, she's got that Gemini energy of like, she cannot shut the fuck up. It's like, girl, take a goddamn fucking breath for 1 second.
What do you mean?
Let someone else speak. Let be rude. Like, you can take a breath, Shoshanna. And I think we see that a lot, even with her relationship with Ray, where he's like, calm down. Like, it's like, just like, calm down for a second.
And she's like, I have to say one more monologue really quick.
Exactly. That is such a Gemini thing to exist in. And like, wait, I just have to get my thoughts out. Especially as a Gemini moon. Gemini moons need to be able to communicate everything that they're feeling and thinking and intellectualizing.
Even while she's fucking a guy, she's like, and I don't think this will last long term, by the way. He's like inside her.
And that's where I got Capricorn. I thought maybe fire sign, but I think that she's a little bit too she's too composed for fire sign energy.
For me, Capricorn, this is my impression, is women that work in finance. That is resonating for anyone at home. It's like a woman, but she also is good with numbers.
Yeah. I think Capricorn is and I think that she actually has the most interesting, when I was thinking about her full arc, I was like, no, she actually has that arc of where she starts very Gemini. And I have this personal philosophy with astrology where when you're younger, you really, really embody your rising sign in a lot of ways. And then when you get older, you become much more comfortable existing as your sun sign. And I think that's what we see with the arc of her character, where she starts off very impressionable, kind of going with the flow, super communicative. She's got a good, sharp mind. But then towards the end of the series, we see her kind of getting like really pissed off by the fact that the other girls don't have the level of ambition that she has. The other girls aren't able to acknowledge when things are wrong and things are right. What I love about her is even when Shoshanna is kind of like doing something that she knows isn't super great, like having sex with someone that she knows that she's not going to like stay with, she vocalizes it. And she's like, this is the tea. And she's like, here it is. I'm confused. I don't really know what's going on. She's very, very vocal and open and honest, which I think is the beautiful combination of Gemini and Capricorn. And then we get to the end of the series, and have you had the all of the entire series and the timelines are all a blur to me because I did watch it in 2.5 weeks.
Right
what
now,
you're talking about
like,
is so right.
Did they go to the
Shoshanna
cabin?
and Ray broke up. She hasn't been to Japan yet. She's about to graduate NYU. She is just a girl right now.
Did she have her freak out on them when they were like having like little girls trip yet?
So
Yes,
we
we
went to
just
the
did
beach
that.
house and she's like, y'all kind of are lame and have done nothing with your lives.
That is the first like moment that we see her Capricorn. That is the first moment that we see her Capricorn shine through, where she's like, wait. She has that like aha moment of like, oh my fucking God,
she's
these
very
people
much
suck.
a character where it's like, I feel like a lot of the girls are ambitious, but she's ambitious in a way where she feels responsible.
Yes.
Where she's like, oh, I'm ambitious and I'm going to figure out how to get it. Whereas a lot of people are like, oh, I want this big thing. the follow through on that, no clue.
Well, and then also, spoiler alert, towards the end of the series, when she like runs into her old college friends who are like super successful businesswomen, she's like, that could have been me.
The jeans girls.
The jeans girls. She's like, that
my
could. She's like, that
God.
could have been. And that is such a Capricorn thing to hold on to, where it's like, fuck, I lost a very good, because Capricorn's the workhorse, the profession, the career sign.
They're like, I wasted 2 years.
Exactly. She's like, are you fucking kidding me? That could have been me. And then her sort of like moment of just being like, you know what? I'm done with this friendship. I was like, blessings, peace and blessings to you. Like, hope you live a good life. But having that last sort of like Gemini moment of having fun, like in the bathroom, that to me like really solidified, like, yeah, she's got this Capricorn, but she has that Gemini, which is able to sort of acknowledge it's like, you know what? Let's just enjoy this last little moment, right? And this last little happiness and this last little bit of friendship that she's at least going to hold on to. But that Capricorn's still like, but bitch, I'm out. I'm done. Cannot do it.
Whoa.
Oh my God.
Like,
and you thought she was an Aries.
Yeah, meanwhile we were like,
she got angry once.
she's so reactive.
I was like, I want to do what you do with neighborhoods in Brooklyn, where like it's categorize people. It's like you're Clinton Hill Rising, Williamsburg.
Baby, I'm a Bushwick moon through and through.
No,
you.
thank you. I'm sorry.
A Bushwick moon.
Yeah, I'm a Bushwick moon for sure. I think I would be. I want to be like a Chelsea sun so bad, but I'm not.
I'll tell you, I'm
like a Hell's Kitchen sun.
I'm a West Village Rising, right?
You're West Village Rising.
Yeah.
Evan keeps saying I'm not allowed to go there because I'll never come home.
Can I be toxic?
Yeah.
Well, this is toxic towards myself. I think I'm a Long Island City Rising.
You're like, I can't wait to
Can I
own
insult
land.
myself? You're like, yeah, this is a podcast.
You're like, this is perfect.
This is
I
actually
think I'm a
perfect.
Long Island City Rising, unfortunately.
I think I'm an Upper East Side moon.
Yeah, I see that for you.
Upper West, maybe.
Would
But you are a Bushwick Rising. You present Bushwick.
Yeah, I'm Bushwick Rising, but I'm Upper West Side moon, and my sun sign is
Williamsburg.
Williamsburg.
I think you're a Williamsburg.
Whoa. Yeah, really, that actually all adds up.
Mm-hmm.
And it all adds up.
I will say, walking around Bushwick, I see a lot of moons. Uh-oh.
Speak on
it. Okay. Shoshanna.
Capricorn Sun, Gemini Moon, Gemini Rising.
Oh my God. The Gemini in the space today.
Well, and when I was coming up with like all of the girls, I also tried to think about how they relate to each other.
I know. We need to get to that. So, okay, well, let's go through our other two girls, and then we are going to start bulletin boarding the maps of how that integrates with each other.
Literally.
I think we need to lean into Lena, because it's like, obviously she wrote these characters with their sun, moon, and rising in mind.
She had to have.
And then she was like, okay, so this Aries sun's going to interact with this Pisces moon, and this is what's going to happen. So we'll get to that, but let's jump into Marnie.
I just need to give Cole a compliment first. Because, Cole, you are killing this.
What do you mean?
You're giving
really
the best analysis I've ever heard.
Oh, of course.
Like,
you asked me to be a guest on a podcast. I'm coming prepared with notes and analysis.
You were literally an expert.
You're an expert.
Thank you.
I told you the other day that on Astrology comedy show, and the girl at the end of the show had to guess the astrology sign of all 6 comedians.
Baby.
And she got 3 rounds. She got it wrong every single. She
had 3 guesses for each person.
She had 6 signs, and she did associate with 6 different people. So even the math doesn't even add up that she didn't get one.
No, yeah, that's tough.
She got me because I smiled, because I can't lie. When I tell I always smile.
Yeah, you really do. Anytime Evan tries to like say something like mischievous, they smile like, and I'm like, Evan.
That's the Gemini like.
Yeah, like they're already laughing at how cool it was that they pulled it off, and I'm like, well, you're not pulling it off now.
I literally like smirk or chuckle before I'm about to tell a joke that I think is the funniest joke in the world.
100%.
And like my boyfriend knows me all the time. He's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I just thought of something funny." He's like, "Are you gonna share it?" I'm like, "Not right now. Maybe later, because you're on the bit now. I wanted to be like
wanted to be a little surprise.
Oh my God, you have to be on a sitcom.
I say that my dream role, if I were ever to be on like TV or a movie, is to play Anna Faris's son in the reboot of the Scary Movie franchise.
Yeah,
because I love horror movies.
What an obvious pick.
But thank you. But I also love just super like cheesy slapstick like
yes,
low hanging fruit comedy.
And I put Ashley Tisdale in there, and that franchise went down. I love Ashley Tisdale.
Listen, if it's me, baby, that franchise would have been born again.
Fabulous Adventure is really fucking good.
Really good.
And I'll say that much. But Marnie, what do we think Marnie is?
Okay, so I'm not gonna say Taurus, because for me that's someone who's chill.com.
No, but she's so she really like believes, her whole thing is that she has such a clear understanding of what she thinks is right
Virgo.
and good and how things should be.
Mhm.
And then she is so devastated when anything is saying that's not the case. So it's like, what sign does that mean?
Hell.
Virgo.
Virgo.
I
got
got it.
I always said that.
So I had Marnie as a Virgo sun, Leo moon, Libra rising.
Okay.
I got Virgo.
You got Virgo.
I can ride that all day.
When I think of Marnie, I do think of her as like kind of low-key a player in a sense.
Wait,
She's
elaborate.
she's a big flirt. She's always trying to like kind of impress someone.
She is presenting what she thinks should be it instead of ever doing
She'd be
something
such a good
genuinely.
sugar baby that doesn't
Libra
sleep.
fucking rising.
Yeah.
Libra is the sign that represents relationships. It is the sign that rules over what I call the other, which is anyone who isn't yourself. Because Aries is a sign that's me, sister signs opposite. Being a Libra rising, she really can only focus on her perception and how people perceive her and how she can show off in the best version possible.
That is really her. She is always performing friendship or performing
But
a
she's
relationship.
also performing at birthdays.
And
Or was it birthday or was
No,
it?
it was a
yeah,
It was a birthday. Yeah.
Hannah's birthday, and she's like, "Please, we do not need to sing Rent." And she's like, "We're
No,
gonna
people
sing
are getting in a fight.
Rent."
Like, there's a fight in another room. She's like, wait, I have to finish
I have
this
to
rent.
finish.
She's like, "I have to finish the third verse. Give me a
literally
sec."
Always perform. Well, and I think that's where her Libra moon or Leo moon comes in. Is that yearning and that desire to be seen. I think that's her big
Totally.
thing, is that as much as she wants to come off as the perfect person and the most ideal and like everyone loves her, she also needs to be seen and she needs to be
That's the
validated.
music career of it all.
Music career. I'm gonna use air quotes.
And for people just on audio, those were some big ass air quotes.
I don't know your hands can expand like
Yeah.
that. Jesus.
Big hands, I guess. But then the Virgo rising is exactly what you said, where it's like, or excuse me, the Virgo sun is that she has such a concept and a perception, because the sun sign is also your conscious sense of self, right? She's like, this is how it should be. This is how I am. This is what's perfect. This is what's ideal. Combined with the Libra rising, which gives way too much of a fuck what other people think, and the Leo moon, which is like, but I'm a star. Like I deserve
my
to be seen.
God.
I deserve to be represented. Hers was the easiest for me. When I was,
It
like,
was obvious.
Oh, it was so obvious. It was. I was just like bang, 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 done.
Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, exactly what you said. It is so like this need to be perceived in a certain positive light while needing attention, while like not wanting to be seen in the way that somebody who's like a pure Leo or a pure fire sign would be like
Mhm.
ready for that.
What sign is Slim Jim?
This is not sponsored by Slim Jim, but I do have a little snack.
Protein is all we have.
Evan read me for filth when I walked in and I said, "Oh no, I have like a muscle milk and a Slim Jim," and I was like, "Slim Jim? That's so salty. That's disgusting."
Well,
your
that's
body
the
like a
gayest
temple.
foods or Slim Jims and muscle milk for some
Our
unknown
Slim Jim,
reason.
I feel like a Slim Jim's like a trucker food though.
I'm just
Yeah,
like,
I think that's
gays
my
are
Midwest
so
coming through.
truckers these
Charlie is
days.
always getting drunk and then being like, let's go to a 7-Eleven and buy a Slim Jim. I'm like, this is devastating.
It's so great we've had all our friends on the podcast so we can like use our names now.
It's like
Mhm.
Charlie is always buying a beef jerky stick at like 11
Love.
p.m. I'm like, can we be normal?
I
Can we
guess-
go to Sonic
What-
and get a slushie with nerds?
That's normal.
That's normal. Slim Jim, no. Slushy with nerds at 11 p.m.
It's interesting what we all get because for me at 11 p.m. I want cut up mango.
Cut up mango. Ooh,
Evan,
yum.
anytime we go out, we're like, let's go get like shitty, like a McFlurry and
Uh-huh.
fries. And Evan's like, why don't I get cut mango? It's
I
like
feel
the
that.
fruit
I
stand
love
is closed,
mango.
bitch.
I got fun fact about me, I'm usually high 24/7. That's it.
Of course.
So just like no, Long Island.
Wait, no.
And
It's on
every
its
time that I like get
It's on
really
its way
high,
out.
I always have like a healthy snack so I can justify eating all of it.
Mm.
But when I say a healthy
Ooh.
snack that I eat all of, it's usually like 5.
You're a horse.
Wait, that tastes amazing. That sounds
Like an
amazing.
entire television movie, like not a baby carrots, like the big ass fucking carrots that wash, peel, and like cut.
You're like, I binge eat a little different.
I'm a different girl, but then I also pair it with usually like a party-sized bag of like Lay's.
Yeah, of course.
Totally.
Balance is, as we know, the most important part of the world.
Yeah.
I'm trying to link it back to
No, you
astrology.
actually-
I
that
just
is-
Well, that balance is all about Libras. Libras are all about. And Marnie
yeah.
is a Libra rising.
Ah, we
Full
did
circle
it.
moment.
Do you think because Marnie really starts out in season 1, we come to understand her character as like this very high strung type A, this is how things are done, and then we see her unravel more and more each season, and she ends up kind of being like this weird like wife with an or divorcee with
she really wants to be a wife, so she'll find out any means possible. Is
and
that a
then
sign?
like her music career is like what?
Well, I think the negative side of her signs is that a lot like Virgo, Leo, Libra, they all like sit next to each other when we look at like, so Leo season is followed by, wait, is that right? Yeah, Leo season is followed by Virgo season, which is followed by Libra season.
Wait, I love to sit next to each other.
They sit right next to each other.
That's so fun. They're friends at the lunch table.
Yeah.
In a sense, yeah.
I
I
can think of the zodiac as a lunch table.
I like to think about. Have you seen Inside Out? The movie.
Yeah.
I like to think about each of the zodiac signs or like
as
the
like
planets,
a little guy.
or like the planets in like someone's chart as like the little guys being like, you should do this, and then the other one being like, no.
That's an amazing visual image.
Mm-hmm.
And also that one, I'm picturing like the Mean Girls lunch table like explanation scene.
Oh.
You have the Libras who care way too much what people think.
Yeah.
You have the Virgos who are judging you and themselves at the same time.
Tina Fey, is that you?
That sketch has been made, I'm sure.
Has
2017.
to be. And if it
College
hasn't,
humor.
let's make it.
And if somebody at College Humor could link that to us, we'd really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. And sponsor the pod.
Yeah, and you know what? If you're
sign us. I don't know if you guys do podcasts, but we'll show up.
If you're getting seed funding, invest in us. Okay. Sorry. I don't know what just happened.
She's a businesswoman at heart.
Yeah, I see that. That's the Aries in you, the goal-getter.
My boss telling me I'm gonna be paid $14,000 less a year, and I'm like, yeah, I'm a businesswoman because I just said, oh my god, that sounds awesome, thank you.
I hate living on this timeline for you.
It's no problem. It's no problem.
It's not good.
I can't wait for someone to do a rewatch podcast of this rewatch.
the HBO Girls Rewatch podcast.
That would be so brutal.
Amelia lost her job. She lost $14,000 here, did nothing about it. And let's see how it impacted her as the seasons to come. She's on the streets.
Me spending 3 seconds thinking about other people analyzing us and the way we analyze these girls just made me so afraid to be alive.
Well, it's raining.
The way we talk about these girls, if somebody was talking about every one of my moves the way I am talking about these fictional girls' moves, I would be upset.
But also, I think it's okay because they're fictional girls.
But okay, and I forgot for a second that they're not real.
They're not, well
is
they're Hannah Horvath,
there.
Lena Dunham? That is still ultimately the question.
No. But mostly.
Mostly.
In
some sense.
No. But for most of the part, yeah.
Have any of the girls like listened to your podcast? Do you know yet?
We're pretty sure Lena has seen a clip.
I believe that.
And Jemima does follow us.
Period.
Yes.
Work. Live, laugh, love.
Live, laugh, love.
Living, laughing, and loving.
What was the thing you said earlier? Like respect, care, confidence.
I don't remember saying that.
I don't remember, but I wanted
Leave it to a Gemini
t-shirt.
to put words in someone else's mouth.
Okay, last girl, Hannah.
Hannah fucking Horvath.
Sorry, for a second I was like, we missed someone, but we didn't.
We didn't. What do you think Hannah is? I think some sort of summer sign.
Leo.
But she's not like ambitious in that kind of fiery way. She's not a fiery girl. She's kind of like, she's definitely going to be one of those signs that you never really hear about. Like, what's the least popular? Like Aquarius or something?
Cole's like ready for the reveal. Wait, I just want to say Leo because all I know about Leo is my brother, and there's a lot of pride.
Oh, yeah, but Hannah doesn't have that much pride, does she?
I mean,
I guess her being like,
Girl, do you see how she quits GQ?
I'm too good to work for GQ.
Yeah.
It's like Jessica Williams is
and
way
she
cooler
quits
than
Iowa because she thinks she's too good for Iowa.
Which is also like, are you?
No one's too good for Iowa.
I'm too good for Iowa. I will never
good.
live in that state.
Me neither.
It's the #1 writing program in the world.
Oh,
okay,
I'm
but
not
the
good at
state
writing.
of Iowa. No shade to any of our listeners from.
Sorry, but I want to live in a state that has kombucha at every bodega.
Thank you. That's how it should be.
There's no bodegas even in Iowa.
Exactly my point of it.
You have to drive to a Circle K, and it's probably 40 minutes away.
I'm crying. They only have Trilogy Synergy flavor.
And you're well, I don't. Neither of you are from the Midwest, are you?
No.
Do you know Giant Eagle?
No, and I hope to never find out.
It's a grocery chain. It's like
I literally read an article this morning, and by that I mean it was
Kroger.
It was a TikTok about an article about how Chapel Roan is changing the face of the Midwest, growing up in the Midwest.
It is insane.
Chapel Roan is?
Yeah.
She's changing the face of Midwest because
with her debut album, The Rise and Fall of a Midwestern Princess. Which is interesting because Megan Stalter had a special about being Midwest.
Can you give me 3 minutes on it? I just want 3 minutes on that. This is really interesting to me.
You want to say?
Wait, why is the Midwest changing?
She's taking all of the at least how I perceive it and how I interpret. She's taking all of like the traditional concepts of what the Midwest experience is, which is kind of like aspirational in the sense of like I can make it somewhere, but also very like hodunk country, but also very repressed. And I think she's kind of, at least how I receive her music, because I'll be honest, I don't listen to interviews or anything like that. If she were to walk in this room and be like, "Hi, nice to meet you," I'd be like, "I don't know who you are, woman. I'm so sorry." But I do know her sound, and I do love the sound. I think that it really just creates this lovely experience that reclaims like Midwest culture in a positive way, where it's like there is a nice tone to it. I don't know.
Because you know what? In the South, you have so many forms of art and expression where it's like there is country, there's jazz, there's I mean, there is like such a distinct culture, and there's these avenues of creation that you have, of course, on the coastal cities, but the Midwest has never really had that same, except for Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's here, but like there's really not that much rock and roll.
I also feel like in the American dream and the way that it's portrayed through creative careers has in like the last century or even like the last decade, it's been a lot focused on the idea of like leaving your hometown to go make it big in the big city and say, I don't recognize that was where I used to be. I'm creating this specific life for myself in the city. I'm recreating myself rather than taking my experience there and making art and applying that to like, and here's what I've learned and marrying those two things. Don't you feel?
No, what you said makes so much sense.
I feel like, so like even millennial like sitcoms or whatever are so like, we are the city elite now with no recognition of like, I grew up in this like random state.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you are seeing with like newer HBO shows or even the focus of like TV shows selling when they're not in New York or LA based cities.
Yeah.
Like Bridget Everett's Somebody Somewhere, where it's like, let's actually dive into like the nuance of living in a town like that.
It's toxic.
Anyways.
No, it's a really good, I mean, we really, I guess
wrong podcast, but
wrong podcast, great tangent.
I had to get it out.
Well, there's kind of a Midwestern, I mean, Hannah's parents live in Michigan.
Yeah.
And this is the exact experience of Hannah, where she has to leave Michigan to go to New York to have creation, and she goes to Iowa because she's lacking that same sense of like creative freedom in the air, and like she just feels overwhelmed because no one's really resonating with her work. And in New York, you can really, even if someone's not resonating with your work in New York, you always find someone else who can. At Iowa, she just like hit a wall.
Yeah,
totally. I mean, I also feel like I'm almost like 2 years in New York, and I feel like I've spent these 2 years so much trying to become like what a girl in New York would be, rather than being like what a girl who is me is doing in New York.
Well, and I think that's something that, I mean, I've lived in New York now for almost 5 years, so I've got 3 years on you.
I think born here, I lived here 1 through 3.
We can tell.
Okay, and I was talking to Amelia. That statement was directed at Amelia, not Evan.
I need a bite of a Slim Jim.
Do you want some?
No, I'm kidding.
I think right around that 2-year mark was when I like realized I was like, well, granted, I also had like the pandemic during my second year.
To really reckon.
But to really reckon, where I was like, oh, so much of the first like 6 months that I lived in the city, I was trying so hard to be a certain image of what I thought a queer person from the Midwest, how I should exist in New York City. And then I was like, I actually fucking hate this person. I was like, I don't know this person. I don't connect with this person. This person is selling their soul to achieve a goal that everyone wanted for me, but that I didn't actually want myself. And it was right around year 2 where I was like, I just need to change. I need to like finish it up, like shake it up and just do something different and let myself really reconnect to my roots. Granted, I would never move back home. I would never move back to the Midwest. It is not a place that I enjoy existing.
More of like,
she moved to Bushwick.
So I moved to Bushwick.
Yeah, it's been more of like, oh, I should quit renting from Newly and try a different spot.
Yeah, literally.
That's what I mean.
It's like, maybe I should try out Craigslist instead of Street Easy.
Yeah, that's what's really happening right now.
You can find some good spots on Craigslist.
Oh, don't I know it?
Girl. We are going through it with we might have a new apartment, a new set in this next episode.
Oh, this is okay. So sorry, let's do our final guesses for
so
Hannah.
Sorry, we're guessing with Hannah.
We're talking about Hannah.
What's after Aquarius?
Pisces.
Pisces, and then what?
Aries.
I'm going to stick with Leo, TBH.
Okay.
I feel like surprised me. I don't know.
So Hannah is, I talked about this a little bit. I was considering how everyone played together. Hannah's one of the signs that has a little combination of the girls. So I gave Hannah a Gemini sun.
Ooh.
I gave her a Leo moon.
Ooh.
And I gave her a Pisces rising.
Okay.
So I was onto something.
She had like a little bit of each of them.
Yeah, she's every woman.
I almost gave her a Virgo sun because in astrology, so if she was a Pisces rising, her sun would fall in the 7th house. We see that she has such an importance placed on like relationships and like like learning things through relationships. But then I thought maybe I'm changing my mind now right now as I'm describing it.
Okay.
I'm gonna take away Gemini and throw back in Virgo. Virgo sun,
Okay.
Leo moon, Pisces
I
rising.
will say it
You
didn't
heard
hurt
it
me
here
when
first,
you did
folks.
You heard it
that.
here first.
When
I
you did
changed
that,
my
it
mind.
didn't hurt me as a Gemini.
Well, also I am a Gemini, so I had to acknowledge, a sister that I can
Right.
connect with. So backtrack. Virgo sun, Leo moon, Pisces rising. So my initial thought when I was thinking about her being a Virgo is like she's super self-deprecating. She also, like her OCD tics is something that can be very much associated to Virgo type energy of like, oh, something's not going wrong. I have to clean, I have to fix, I have to like, pull up my hair, like pull up my nails, whatever it might be. That type of stuff is like that Virgo antsiness that we see a lot of. Marnie doesn't fully express that. She expresses more of that, like it has to be perfect uptight. Whereas Virgo as well, great communicator, amazing writer. Anyone who has Gemini or Virgo energy in their chart kind of has that call to be like, hey, you should.
She is amazing at communication. I'll give her that much.
Yeah, say what you will about the girl. She knows how to tell a story.
We just did the episode where Hannah's mom is like, don't date Adam. You don't want to you don't want to raise that kid. And she is like, you are being very unkind to me right now. And I'm like, literally, I would never think to say that to somebody.
Well, she knows how to be like cutting. She knows, like, but like cutting in a way where it's like
from like not an emotional outlash, from like a core knowledge.
Yeah, where it's like this.
Yeah,
this is like she's like, this is the tea.
It's not like, and you look stupid because I'm mad at you. It's like, and this is your biggest flaw, and I noticed this years ago, and I'm bringing it up now.
She's observational. She sees people, and when she says something mean, she means it, and it hurts.
I would not want to set that girl off because I know the way she would cut me would leave a mark.
That's like when people insult your appearance, you're like, okay, whatever. It's like it does hurt, but it's like $20,000 can change that.
Yeah.
When someone insults your personality, it's like $20,000 cannot change that.
Your looks? You said your parents.
I said parents?
Yeah.
I heard looks.
Oh. I was like, $20,000 can fix insult.
Your
Cut all
parents?
that, Amelia.
We listened back. I said parents.
Well, and then what did I specifically write? So this is the note that I wrote for
I like
myself.
you laughing.
Good writer, kind of narcissistic, self-deprecating victim complex.
Victim complex is huge. She's
Well,
always like, my
Those are
editor
3
died.
signs on their own.
My editor died.
So, well, and that's where it's like that woe is me sense that Hannah kind of holds is very, very Pisces. Where, we talked about Jessa having Pisces energy, but she exists in that Pisces energy of like just living, and this is all the complexities of astrology. Pisces can also be super self-deprecating in the sense of like, I don't know what to do, woe is me, the world is crumbling, it's not the dream fantasy that I thought it was. Whereas where that intellectual Virgo comes in and says like, this isn't what I thought it was, now I have to say woe is me. And then that Leo moon, anytime something goes wrong for someone else, she finds a fucking way to bring it back to herself. My editor died. Now my book is. It's like, girl, your editor is dead.
That Leo one was really good.
She knows how to like. She
really knows how to
bring
be
it
like,
back.
oh, this thing happened. That's my problem.
Exactly.
When it's not.
When it's like, what? No, I just got punched, and someone stole my purse, and you just happened to be across the street.
But she had to witness that trauma, and that's actually hard for someone.
It is so hard for someone to watch someone else get punched. It
can be really hard for people.
Yeah.
So Hannah just kind of sits in this overthinky, self-deprecating kind
right,
of like,
which I think we really see her like we don't see it all the time, but we really see it come out in situations where it's like the Jenny Slate character like having the book and her being like I thought everything in the world was about me. You think other people are doing well in other ways? Can't be it.
Well,
This one too.
But I also think like when we think about like her arc and her storyline throughout is that she's super self-aware. Like she like kind of knows that she's kind of a bitch sometimes.
She knows,
and she knows that she's doing things that are like reckless and stupid, but she's doing it for a purpose.
She's trying to create a plot.
I think she's self-aware because so many people tell her things about herself too.
Totally.
Like I think she's self-aware of the fact where it's like people are like, you're a narcissist. She's like, yeah, everyone tells me I'm a narcissist. Like,
yeah, what is it? It's like people have been telling me I've been narcissistic since I'm 8.
Like people love to give Hannah feedback because I feel like they see the worst parts of themselves in her. So they're like, they wanna.
That's why I was almost leaning towards Gemini a little bit, because I was like, I think that she embodies a lot of what other people give her, right? And a lot of like what other people like. If you're vibing with her and having a good time, Hannah can kind of be cunt. Like she can kind of turn.
I
the
know.
party.
Oh, girl.
In this rewatch, my main takeaway has been like Hannah's actually kind of a fun girl.
Yeah, she like knows how to fun. She's like down to clown. She's down to have a good time.
She's dancing at weddings. She's having fun.
She's willing to go there and like have a good time, but also she is like super critical and like. So that's why like I was like Virgo, Gemini. It could go either way, truthfully. But I think that Leo moon is where we see a lot of like the unfortunately like negative qualities that people talk about when they talk about Hannah is that sense of she only talks about herself, she only cares, but that's Leo moon. We see it with Marnie. They have this, in my opinion, they have the same moon sign. That's why they are like the two besties. They like get along so well, is because the world both revolves around them, but because they have that synchronicity, the world revolves around the other person as well, where it's like they are kind of like in their own. That's why Virgo sun, Leo
They're
moon
going
together.
around the universe together. Aren't they?
Yep. Going around the universe together.
So
My
real.
jaw is open. I wonder if Amelia and I have the same. We don't, but could we?
What?
You have the same moon.
We have the same moon.
Scorpio moon.
So that it's the same law applies.
I would say in a sense, yeah. Probably not as strongly as Marnie and Hannah because they have sun moon in my opinion.
Okay, now that we know all the girl signs, we have to know how these signs, bulletin board, what's the map, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
My first and foremost question is what the hell are Hannah and Marnie doing? Because they're like besties, but they're always fighting and they're always being evil, but they're always like coming back around to each other. It's like they're always...
Yeah, They're always butting heads. They're always fighting, doing that shit. So we're getting into what we call Sinistry in astrology, which is essentially a fancy word.
This is what you pay extra on CoStar for. So
this
thank
is
God.
what I charge extra for as well. You want to talk about Sinistry, baby? I double my price.
The
I'm looking at two
ad that
charts.
we just break for is you.
It's me. It's actually me.
It's actually you.
This is sponsored, but also not sponsored because well, I just had to pay my taxes and they were quite more expensive. Yeah, I was
being self-employed is all fun and games until you owe the IRS $22,000.
It's all fun and games. Well, I always say I am the most liberal person you would meet until April 15th. April 15th comes around and baby, I am
your HRH.
Hello.
My birthday's April 14th, and it's like everyone's in a bad mood on my birthday because they are getting...
You should start telling people your birthday's April 16th.
Right.
Yeah.
After it's been done.
After it's
When's
over.
refund day? That's when your birthday should be.
That's when your birthday should be. Refund day.
June 6th.
Period.
That's my birthday.
That up.
Is it?
Yeah, June 6th is my birthday.
Oh my gosh.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is, girl.
I just said your birthday as a random date.
It wasn't random because you knew it was my birthday.
I had no idea.
That's actually really mean, and you really helped through my birthday party this year.
That was in June?
It was June 2nd.
I cannot believe I said a random day and it was the day you were born. That's kismet.
Is it? It's actually even mean.
Do you like that I'm wearing stars on my boobs for this episode?
I do.
I thought it was
Oh
really
my God, I should
thematic.
put a star on.
I thought about wearing my like little star earring, but the clasp was broken.
We could have safety pinned it.
We'll ADR it.
Well, ADR.
I almost took about do you know what E6000 is?
No,
It's
it's
like-
glue.
It's the glue
yes,
that drag
yes.
queens use to like rhinestone shit. I almost thought about just gluing it to my ear.
Why
You know what? I
not?
actually do have a thing of it in my drawer.
Do you
so
really?
I can't believe I didn't know what it was.
I am
Fake.
always getting
Gemini fake.
I'm always getting TikToks of like, girls, life hack for your wedding: super glue with eyelash glue the necklace to your neck so it doesn't wiggle and wobble. I'm like,
I like that. Sorry, a girl has to get a perfect photo on her wedding. It's worth the little rash.
I don't know. Why is everybody wearing little tiny necklaces that are going to move around on
Thank
their wedding
you.
day?
Good
There has
point.
to be a better way.
Also, if it's your wedding and you're I don't like the spectacle of a wedding where it's like standing there, like watching them like kiss and like say their vows. I don't give a shit. I want to go to the party after.
Oh, girl, I want to show up late. I'm like, sorry, my heel broke. Like, I want a reason to not go to the ceremony. So
fuck
bad.
the ceremony. The spectacle of the ceremony is like ridiculous to me.
The spectacle of wedding in general is appalling.
You would have hated bar mitzvahs because it's like everything's not even in English and they're doing the same thing, and it's
for a
longer.
15-year-old.
Yeah, it's
who
for
gives
13.
a fuck about 15-year-old?
Oh, it's
14? 14?
13.
I'll
13?
never forget when
14 they're losers.
Oh, I'm thinking quinceañera. That's
the
15.
one. The one bat mitzvah I went to the ceremony and I was like, why is Brooke Herzog reading the Bible?
Right, hello.
I was so confused. And she's like, I had to study and memorize that for months and months. And I was like, well, that's not fun. But her bat mitzvah had this photo booth thing where it printed out a booklet that made a GIF when you flip through it. Like,
oh, yes. I love that.
like analog world GIFs.
You go really fast.
It was a
and it does
boomerang
like
before boomerangs were
That is so cunty. I live. Hannah Marnie. So Hannah and Marnie, same sun, same moon. And when I look at astrology and whenever someone's like, oh, I want to like look at my partnership with someone, I look for just enough similar, but just enough different. Because I know a few people who have dated someone who's been like a day or 2 days like after like they were born. Like 2 days. And like that is just too much similar with astrology. So I think a lot of the tension we see between Marnie and Hannah is because that same sun, same moon, Virgo sun, Leo moon, really does create that sense of this is how the world should be. It is also my world and everyone else revolves around me. So where they exist in that space of like, well, this is going wrong with me and that's going, and where it's like, okay, girls, but everyone's got problems. Everyone's got a life.
Well, sorry, just a little tangent, but what do you think is worse? To have a birthday that's similar or have the same name as your partner? Because every day I'm meeting gay couples in this town and
Same
they
name.
both name the same thing.
Same name is the worst. Bless my ex. I don't think he's ever going to listen to this.
Don't say their name was Cole.
No, his name is Ryan, and his boyfriend's name is Ryan.
I don't
get it. Listen.
I know at least 5 gay couples that are all 10 of them are named Ryan.
Like Wait, someone's like Tyler and Tyler, like Ryan and Ryan, Alec and Alec. I know like a Mark and a Mark, and I was like, what the fuck is
There's
going
so
on?
many gay couples with the same name.
Well, and it's worse when they look similar. Thank God my ex and his current boyfriend do not look similar, so that's good. But when you look similar and have the same name, I'm kind of like, oh, you're a Leo sun, Leo moon, Leo rising. You're a narcissist.
I literally my whole life have never really interacted with anybody else with my name for some reason.
Yeah.
But now Amelia is the #1 baby name in the nation.
Is that true?
Yeah. So literally
I hate
like
that for you.
25 years from now, every person I meet in their 20s will be named Amelia. And I'll be like, you think you're younger than me?
Like, do you think they're gonna all be brown hair, blue eyes too?
They gotta be. Statistically, probably.
If anyone's naming their child Amelia,
it's something. It's something along these lines.
Or like bleached blonde.
Yeah,
Ooh.
it'll all be like, you can change what you look like so easily these days.
Well, I would say the original Amelia is Amelia Earhart, and she was famously a redhead with curls.
She was a redhead?
I didn't know she was a redhead.
She got eaten by crabs. Did you know that?
Oh, the coconut crabs?
The coconut crabs ate her up.
No, I think she's still alive today.
Like Elvis?
Yeah.
Period.
I mean, she'd be like 300. That's
No,
not
she
true.
wouldn't.
She'd be like
No,
130.
She'd literally be like 108.
That's actually really old still.
How?
When I say 300, I did mean 108, by the way.
And by the way, like Amelia Bedelia is the one that does it for me because she's a true feminist. Like she was like,
Well, she's black eyes.
She was like, you are putting me in traditional women's roles. Well, I'm gonna do terrible at them.
Ooh.
She's like, I'm gonna play stupid, but really, I just don't want to do what's asked of me.
I do think Amelia should do a podcast where she talks about other
126.
Amelias.
Amelia Earhart.
You should go through every episode and talk about a different famous Amelia.
Okay, perfect.
Amelia Earhart.
Amelia's Amelia rewatch.
Amelia's Rewatch. I love that.
And the only people I'll do it in 25, or I'll do it when all the Amelias
Yeah.
are like
25.
are like 19, because like college is really when a podcast hits the spot.
Mm-hmm.
So when all you Amelias grow up and be 19, I'll make a podcast just for you.
All our listeners.
All
are
the
named
women
Amelia.
who shaped your journey.
I don't think we have a single Amelia listener, I swear to God.
If your name Amelia and reach out if you're a listener and
I'd love to connect.
The Sinistry, yeah. But I think the reason that they always come back together is because what's nice about having familiarity between is that there can be understanding, right? And there can be that synchronicity, but they have just enough different, the rising sign. And fun little astrology thing. So each of the planets are ruled by a particular sign. Libra rising, Marnie, is ruled by Venus. Venus is exalted, which is like the highest, purest, like best expression of a planet in the sign of Pisces. Hannah having a Pisces rising. So they have this like interesting, at least in my opinion, connection of like sympathy, love, understanding for each other, even though they push each other's buttons a lot.
By having sex with their ex-boyfriends.
Well, I will say, who does push your buttons most is the people most similar to you.
100%.
Yeah, because you see what you don't like about yourself in them, and then you're like, fuck off.
Oh, that's why you can't be born on the same day and date
My
someone.
sister is born on the same
recommend
day as me, and she's 3 years younger, and it's like, that's been a prison forever.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
You know how bad it is.
Celebrate your birthdays together?
One time in middle school, my friends threw me a surprise party, and my dad yelled at me at the party for not having my friends sing happy birthday to my sister. They had never met her or knew it was her birthday. And I was like, all right, I am a terrible sister. You're so right.
You said that is so
It's a
valid.
surprise party. It had nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
I like being blamed for that.
Period.
I'm like, okay,
Like,
yeah.
add a name.
Yeah, they're like,
On the
why does it only say Amy on this cake? I'm like, all right, I didn't make it. But I will say in high school,
And you know what? You have to stop making cake sense. You're like, I didn't make that cake, but I'll make every other cake.
Every other
I know. Anytime a girl in this town has a birthday, I'm like, I made you a cake, by the way. I don't know why.
I don't know you, but here's a cake.
I don't know why. I woke up today and knew I had to for some reason.
And I just brought it around with me, hoping it was someone's birthday.
Yeah. No, in high school, I was like, I had two best friends who are also Aries, and we were like known in like our
Were you the
high
Aries?
school. We were like the Aries trio. Like everybody knew we
That
were
sounds
Aries.
horrifying.
We were obsessed with being like, yeah, we're all fire signs.
We're the triple A's. Watch out. I love that. Amy, Aries.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Ooh. I mean, the
Um,
Aries.
Wait, are Jessa and Shoshanna, how are they two?
So they have.
And their family, too.
Let me pull up my notes.
Yeah.
They are family. They do have a nice little bit of similarity. Their moons are sister signs. Gemini moon, Sagittarius. Shoshanna, Gemini moon. Jessa, Sagittarius moon. Checking my notes.
Because they're not best friends, but they are connected.
Well, and I think what I find interesting about their relationship is they both have that, Jessa, that Taurus sun, Shoshanna, that Capricorn sun. So they do have that sense of like presence. They do have that sense of like, okay, we're here. We're like, let's what the fuck is actually going on? They know how to be in the moment. But I think where they find that tension is that they have pretty much just that like familial tie, right? And that's what I think calls them together, because they have that similar moon where it's like, okay, yeah, we have sister sign moons, we have this familial connection, but do we actually have anything in common?
Oh.
No, they don't.
I have a
in my
question.
And they
Is-
don't. It's
Can
like,
your
what?
genetics play into your... Oh, I'm sorry. Can your genetics play into your astrology? Or has nothing to do with it?
Can what?
Your genetics play into your astrology at all?
Genetics, no. The astrology of the people that you were raised by, yes. So in a sense,
Oh.
your genetics can play into your astrology, but it's more sort of just like environmental factors.
Okay, interesting.
Like-
I was trying to understand if there's a familiar connection through astrology as well.
Well, you can find a familial connection as well, like literally through the chart. So my mentor and I, we did like a whole deep dive of like my family's charts recently. We all have like very Saturn heavy charts, which is like, overworking ourselves, like go-getters, very ambitious, but like kind of like self-deprecating and like very too critical on themselves. So we all of like my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister, like we all have this Saturn energy. So like we carry that familial karma. It ties into karma more than genetics.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm
Wow.
always curious
Karma.
about, well, also I think it's funny when people are like, astrology is so woo-woo, like the stars have nothing to do with you. And I'm like, you think the stars have nothing to do with you? Like last time I checked, the moon literally invented the ocean's whole thing.
Literally.
And you're saying the solar system has no
Impact.
relationship?
Well, and also I think that is just such
So
like
funny.
that's such like a Leo moon mindset to assume that like other things don't affect you. Because at the end of the day, we are just like little specks of dust floating on like a big rock. Not to get existential, but
No, I really
to
like that.
to assume
It's
that
not existential, to state scientific fact.
hello.
No, literally.
But to assume, I mean, we also, yeah, the Big Bang. Is the Big Bang Theory proven yet, or is it still
I
just a
think
theory?
It's okay. So you know what had happened was that they thought they proved it, and then they're like, "Wait, we don't actually know," and now they're kind of being like, "Wait, but I do think so."
Got
Does
it.
that read for listeners?
I
Sure.
hate young Sheldon.
Me
I was
too.
thinking the
I
same
hate
thing.
Sheldon, period.
I hate
When you
Sheldon
brought the Big
period.
Bang Theory, my brain was like, actually, I hate young Sheldon.
Have you ever watched The Big Bang Theory and been like,
This is a good show.
this show hates women?
No, yeah, every time.
I'm like, I didn't know feminism was so far behind.
The Big Bang Theory. People who like the Big Bang Theory, I'm sorry, you're a nerd. 2, grow up.
Oh God, it's on the buses now. They're advertising Big Bang Theory again. They're like Pix 11 showing.
Move out of your mother's basement.
I'm like, why is it still on ads? Why are we still promoting the Big Bang Theory?
The Big Bang Theory is literally just for people who get off watching Star Wars. And I said it.
We need to set Kaylee
Right.
Coco free.
They have a Jabba the Hutt fantasy.
Wait, what's the Jewish girl who's actually a scientist on that show? Mia.
Oh, the one who now does long form video essays on YouTube.
I watch them all the
Yeah.
time. She talked about open relationships this week
She's got the glasses.
or a few weeks
Yeah,
ago.
she's like,
what's
I'm
her
actu-
name? Mila?
I don't know the way
She's an actress since she was like 12 as well.
the way
And then
she
she
has
got a
pivoted to
PhD.
being John Green is amazing.
I love that for her.
Yeah.
Listen, I think that everyone's career trajectory should eventually get to John Green.
It's like how all animals evolve into crabs. It's
Literally.
like everyone should evolve into John
John
Green.
You should die, John Green. Everyone.
Uh-huh.
That is gorgeous.
I love it. Now, let's think about.
Yes, let's think.
Now let's think about
No, I wanted to
Hannah
really-
and Jessa.
Hannah and Jessa. So
I think that's such an interesting relationship.
Hannah and Jessa have that same Pisces rising. They have similar types of moons, right? Sagittarius moon, Leo moon, they're both fire moons. But what I think the nice sort of nuance is that Hannah's sun, Virgo's sun, would sit in Jessa's 7th house, right? And in Sinistry, whenever you have someone else's personal planets sit in the 7th house, which is the house of relationships, partnerships, there's always a very strong connection there. Some would call it karmic. Some would call it like that sense of like, oh, I've known this person forever. And I think that's where we see that, that I think that Jessa and Hannah have like in a really interesting sense, like the purest friendship of like any of the girls in the group. Yes, Marnie and Hannah, we see them as like, you know, kind of always locked to the hip, so to say. But I think the tenderness that Hannah and Jessa approach each other, like Hannah kind of acknowledges like, yeah, Jessa's a mess, but like is always there to support.
I
We're in
think
full
And I think
agreement.
Jessa-
That's
I
what we
think
always say on this podcast.
It's most prominently showcased when Jessa is getting married and the marriage fails with Thomas John.
Mhm.
And it's like Jessa does not know how to talk about like why she is sad about it.
Yeah.
And Hannah is like, I get it. Like, come into the tub with me. I'm here for you.
Well, I think that Hannah also has, I mean, because Hannah is such a critical, like analytical person, and Jessa, she lives in this like very ethereal place. I think there's something about how they ground each other and how they're, you know, Sinistry looking at, I mean, that Virgo, which can be very, very stabilizing for someone with a lot of chaotic Pisces energy, her Taurus sun, the moon signs just vibing, having a good time of just, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I think that they have like a special sense of like what I would call just like knowing. They just like girl, I get it.
Yeah.
You don't have you don't have to get
what?
into it. I get it. Like
Yeah.
I know what you're going
Marnie,
through.
yeah.
You don't have to say anything.
There
Whereas
is
like
a
with
mutual
Marnie and Hannah,
understanding.
I think there's this sense of
It's
like
cerebral.
it's much more
Yeah.
cerebral. Like they have to talk it out. They have to like. Whereas with Jessa and Hannah, they're just kind of like.
But such Jessa's essence too. Like Hannah's really bouncing off the people she's interacting with in a way because we see her as this like touched on like the way she interacts with Adam or Jessa or Marnie. Like she can wholly read into other people's energies and kind of, I mean, she's so herself, but she really can accommodate others' energies. I feel like is that play into her chart at all?
Yeah, Pisces rising.
Pisces rising.
Pisces. So Pisces again is the witchiest, most spiritual, the most ethereal. Whenever you have like Pisces placements in your chart, usually we as astrologers like, oh, you have like psychic abilities, empath vibes.
I think I'm psychic.
Just like being able to just like, it's like, oh, I can sense that you're in a bad mood, and I can sense that it's maybe something I should ask about or something that I shouldn't ask about. I think that they have a really beautiful mutual understanding. But they also know how to have fun. They also know, okay, here's the moment where, you know, Jessa Hannah, where it's like, let's do something, right? Let's be active. But here's the moment where, yeah, we need to like sit in the bathtub together and just like vibe and just have, like, I think they're the most similar in my opinion.
And why do you think Hannah's so drawn to water?
She's a Pisces rising.
There you go.
I don't know. Maybe
why am I always wanting to go to sea? Because I'm
The ocean?
I'm a fire sign.
Yeah, but you have a Scorpio moon.
Got it.
Scorpio
It's
moon.
gorgeous.
Okay.
Lovely little Scorpio moon.
And why out of 1 in 3 times when someone asks, or we're guessing where people are from, we're like, oh, where are you from? In my head before they say it, I already know where they're from when I meet people for the first time.
Scorpio moon? Psychic? I think that's just like a fun little
Or
quirk.
am I really judgmental?
I think you're a worldly person who has probably gathered a lot of very keen observations on other people, and you have that Gemini
You're
sort
the
of like.
smartest person alive.
We're
Cole.
like, tell us it's about the stars, and you're like, that one might just be you.
But I think, because you have that Gemini energy, which is very keen, very perceptive, and kind of just, able to pull out the most random bullshit from like wherever. Gemini is able to say like, oh, this person, like, let's say you have like 3 people, one's from New York, one's from the Midwest, one's from the South, and they just like kind of look how they look. I would assume because of your Gemini energy is so perceptive, you would probably be able to analyze, okay, well, I know people from the South, I know people from the Midwest, I know people from New York. I could probably pick out where they fall because of that Gemini.
You are
Pattern
so
recognition.
smart, Cole.
Thank you.
I swear to
Yeah,
God.
you're literally being a genius on our podcast.
We're being
Sorry.
little idiots.
For
Brunette
anyone
idiots.
out there who says we don't bring enough geniuses on the podcast, well, your prayers have been answered.
Have people said that?
Yeah.
Somebody
Every week.
somebody left an amazing comment on our TikTok this week and was like,
Oh, I love this comment.
these
These
hosts don't really bring on guests who have any expertise on this, but I don't care. Or one was like,
yeah. So
I love girls though, and the other person commented
can I do
Let's
it?
do
I'm
it,
sorry.
read
I
it.
can actually do it.
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. You can do it exactly, but this is exactly what happened. Where Amelia's right, where it's like these hosts never bring on people that know anything about girls, and the next comment is someone like, "But who cares? It's still fun." And then the same person's like, "Exactly."
I'm like, this is fan mail. This is ultimately fan mail.
Listen, that's the price you pay.
We
for
have to
being
do
famous.
actually an episode to read all the hate comments.
I
we've gotten.
know. Wait, that would be so fun to do an episode because they're so specific.
There's really
They're really
cutting.
interesting hate comments.
And as someone who's been in the digital world now for about like 2.5 years, like very publicly, it is crazy how like the things like some
the intricacies, the nuance.
I was like, where did you come up with that? Like I had someone say one time, I'm paraphrasing, but essentially something to the fact is like, I have never seen a more intelligent dumbass Gemini in my life talk about the most accurate but also asinine thing in the world. And it was like one of my videos where I'm like, zodiac signs as like different like toes or some like
Totally.
like stupid bullshit like that. And I was like, you could have just said that you don't like the video.
No, he
It
liked the
sounds
video.
Like he really liked the
I
video.
don't know.
Actually,
Sometimes
it's
I
the
read that
most-
shit. It was
it's
just like,
so cutting.
but
It's so accurate and so cutting.
but like
Not
you
that-
insulted me and complimented me and said that the video
Yeah.
was asinine but also like accurate. I was like, how do I
It is so.
just
But
tell
like,
me
that's the fun
just say
part.
just say heart
Yeah,
emoji or
exactly.
like thumbs down emoji.
No,
That's
no.
I
all
honestly
need.
That's
am
the best
loving the
feedback you could have
nuance.
ever gotten. Because it's like you're talking about toes that is really stupid, but you're doing it in the smartest way possible.
Yeah, I get that type of shit all the
Yeah.
time where people are like, this is the dumbest thing but also the most accurate thing in
No,
the world.
literally.
And I'm like,
That's
okay.
actually what exactly everyone should be doing, though. It's
I
like you're having
posted-
fun while being
No,
smart.
don't do it. It's my brand.
I'm sorry. No one else be fun and smart at the same time.
That's my thing. Pick one.
I posted like a stand-up clip and all the comments are like, actually, technically, really good joke, but because she's talking the way she's talking, I'm gonna kill her with a gun. And I'm like, honestly, slay.
Technically, amazing writing.
They're like, she's actually good at what she's doing, but I don't like hearing it from her.
That's literally every single comment I got.
And I'm like, that is the story of our lives.
My favorite comments I get are because whenever I like post, I'll post like very arbitrary things where it's like zodiac signs as, or like ranking the zodiac signs based on the most recent one that I did, like is doing quite well on Instagram.
Work.
Most likely to start drama based on like if they were on the Real Housewives, like for no reason. And all these people are like, wrong, I'm a Cancer and I start drama all the time. I'm like, you want to brag about that?
Yeah, girl.
I was like, I didn't know that was something to be proud
Some people
of.
actually
Girl,
have
what
nothing
girl
else
are
going
you?
on.
Girl, what girl are you? Jessa.
No, people are really proud of starting drama because they almost have nothing else going on. So
Well,
they
it's
actually really stick to drama.
If you're so uninteresting that you have to stir the pot in someone else's life, then it's kind of like, maybe go to therapy.
At the end of the day, if you're a YouTube creator that just does reactions,
go to therapy.
Go to therapy.
come up with your own idea.
I-
Us reviewing a podcast or reviewing a show.
Well, we mostly talk about ourselves, though.
But we're talking mainly about ourselves.
Yeah, you're introspective.
yeah.
You have a point of view.
Girl, get your Glock. It's
It's
rapid
rapid
fire
fire
time.
time.
Okay.
Not the Glock.
Not the Glock.
Okay.
Are you a schoolgirl or are you getting schooled, girl?
Well, I think this podcast showed that I'm a schoolgirl. I feel like I came in trying to be an idiot, but then I was just far too intellectual for my own good.
So funny.
What's your
This
favorite
podcast.
utensil?
Ooh, I love sporks.
Voice of a generation or a voice of a generation?
A voice of a generation.
Why is Marnie mad at you?
She's mad at me because I'm more popular than her.
Ooh. Are you living in a nice building facing an ugly building or an ugly building facing a nice building?
Nice building facing an ugly building.
Okay, why is Ray like that?
I think Ray is like that because Ray was never held as a child.
What do you think David the editor that died?
Well, he's dead. So R.I.P. David the editor. I don't know. I think maybe like a Gemini.
Period.
I don't know.
Sujin, what's her name?
Sujin.
Sujin.
Sujin. What's Sujin's sign?
Wait, who is Sujin?
Sujin is
Froyo. Hey, bitch.
Greta Lee. She's the one that is.
But she's an
Boot
Aquarius.
Jonathan.
She's an Aquarius. Boots. Sujin is an Aquarius.
Period. Okay, wait. We have to know. We have to know. What sign is Tally Schifrin?
I think Tally Schifrin is an Aries. I think she is an
They
Aries.
scream every time.
I think she's an Aries with a Gemini moon.
Ooh. And what's Hannah's mom?
Oh, Hannah's mom is a Capricorn.
And what about Tad Horvath?
Tad Horvath. I think he's a Cancer. Yeah.
He is so Cancer.
I think he's very
He's a Cancer in a lot of people's lives, too.
Oh,
Well-
God. He's nice.
No,
Be
he's
nice.
Yeah. Because Hannah's mom is more of like that. I'm sorry, this is rapid fire, but she's more of the one that's like pushing Hannah, whereas like her dad's kind of like a little bit more of a pushover.
Totally.
But like they're also they both have that like nurturance of like we just want you to do well, which is Cancer Capricorn.
Oh.
And when do you think everyone is Saturn returning?
When it's least convenient for them.
Perfect.
And what is
So-
Japanese Shoshanna's?
I think Japan Shoshanna is a Sagittarius.
Yeah, there's nothing
Yeah.
that's been more obvious before.
Yeah, it's the
All
team.
love to her.
Okay, and this leads us to our last seggy.
That outfit in Brooklyn. Cosmically, what was going on a decade
Ooh.
ago versus this decade?
If not, no worries.
So Saturn would have been in Scorpio. The North Node would have been in Scorpio. Actually, that's a really interesting thing to think about. So Scorpio is all about like the depths of the reality, like the darkest, most taboo facets of ourselves. So the show coming out when Saturn was in Scorpio, which is all about karma, which is all about life lessons. And then the North Node, which is like kind of like karmic destiny, it reveals a whole lot. Having those two together in Scorpio when the show came out is interesting because you could think that the show was very taboo in a sense, talking about addressing like a lot of very real topics, but very uncomfortable topics.
And
to really
for
look
the
at.
time, not other TV shows were really going that
Fearlessly.
Well, no,
not that many
yeah.
TV shows were fearlessly going into these conversations. I mean, literally, like right out of the gate, third episode, abortion episode.
Yeah.
Like it was like Hannah fucking being naked by some guy that you're like, I don't know if that's like morally good. Like
Also, when Hannah put her hand on the writer who like she went to his house, spoiler alert, like and
the
he
penis.
just like whipped his dick out and like she was lying on the bed after they had this big heart to heart about like how he didn't abuse these girls. And then she's like, penis grab.
yeah.
Crazy.
We literally booked a guest for that episode, I think 4 months ago. And we're still waiting. Like, we're just like, we already had the guest lined up when we first started this. No, but you're so right. I feel like this show had a similar impact at the time that like Euphoria did.
Yes.
Right during like the way people had the controversy around it, like kids doing drugs, blah blah blah. It's showing this lens where it's like it's based in someone's reality. And like it is showing, but it's also so extreme and it's really shocking people to their core. And then now no one even cares about Euphoria.
Well, yeah, that then begs the question, like, where the planets are aligned in this year that we're reviewing this show. Like, is there something cosmically different?
Yeah. So when did you started the podcast?
2023 in March.
In March of this year. So South Node would have been in Scorpio, so activating like the same type of energy of like, and South Node is karmic past, right? So it's like very past energy. So it's like, let's be retrospective on maybe some taboo topics, maybe some nuances in that way. But I think what is more interesting to me is the this Saturn and Taurus energy that we've been experiencing this year. So Jupiter has been in Taurus, which is very expansive of our physical world. So you two taking a perspective of how did this influence, Brooklyn, New York culture, right? And what did it look like? And how do we see semblance carrying through? That's very Taurus and Jupiter, where it's this expansive idea of the very physical world around us. But then we have Saturn, which is currently in Pisces, which moved into Pisces right around March of 2020 of this year. And it really does create this sort of Piscean retrospective, like how can we grow from an analysis of, how can we allow ourselves to maybe put ourselves in the shoes, right? Because that very empathetic spiritual sense that Pisces has of, yeah, this is might not be my experience or what I did, or the crazy kooky things that I got up to, but there is maybe something to be learned or to be understood about exploring that and the complexities that come with really appreciating what someone else's narrative might be. So I think it makes a lot of sense what the pairing of.
Wow.
This is huge. It just made it sound like what we're doing is actually important.
I would say
my
so.
main takeaway.
I'm like, oh, okay.
No, I mean, it really, what you're explaining where it's like with the taboo. I mean, this show, all we hear about, especially from like, we talk to a lot of millennials that were watching this show while living in the city, and like, they're really interpreting, like they were in Brooklyn when the show was coming out.
Yeah.
And their whole experience is like, again, reflective of their own, but of also how controversial it was at the time when this came out. Just like even conversations, there's this one anecdote where someone was like in their internship, and they just like heard two straight men being like, "Oh, that girls show came out. Finally, we get to see what girls look like. They're crazy," and it's.
All love to them.
All love.
Well, peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings. Bless their hearts. But it is so like, I even think we've had a lot of guests on that are like, this is the first time I've been able to like come out about the fact that I like this show. Or like they're wanting to preface any comment they say that speaks nicely of the show with like, and obviously there's a lot of controversies, and so please don't be mad at me. So it's like, people are still kind of operating from this idea where it's like, if they say they like this show, they are admitting that they like identify with or see themselves as like evil or wrong or bad or something, and they have to like step back and be like, that's not, there's nuance there.
Well, and what I think is interesting about the show coming out when Saturn was in Scorpio is that, again, Saturn's that very dark taboo, or Scorpio is that very dark taboo energy. And what's fascinating about this show, so prior to watching the show, I had really only heard like negative things, full T.
Totally.
Where I was like, oh, girls is like, it's a bad representation of women. It's very toxic. Like a lot of the things they do glamorizes some really shitty things. And I was like, oh, and sure, there are the moments and like the nuances of like, maybe they shouldn't have gone that far. But also, this is real shit that happens. Like, girls is such a real, authentic experience. People have abortions. People are in shitty, toxic relationships. People have substance abuse. Sure, should we? And I think the way that Girls portrays it is in not a glamorizing light. Like, I think
it's like a lot of times people have difficulty with media being automatically assumed as a glamorization, like the idea of Friends, where it's like it's an idealistic viewpoint, so to make it more grounded in an everyday reality seems like they're breaking some sort of deal or wall or rule that there was that makes them like have to acknowledge that like if they're watching TV, they're automatically trying to see themselves in others because that's how we view media, and there's like a discomfort in having to view media where it's like there's real shit, and it's like saying you're like one of these girls is admitting that you have flaws. Well, and I also
I think that when the show came out, we were, at least in the United States, kind of in a very idyllic time. Like, music and culture was
Obama
era. Like there was a lot of like progressive tones happening. And since the pandemic, a lot of us have kind of said like, oh, we actually don't live in this idyllic world anymore. So for people to be watching Girls during that time, it was probably very jarring to be like, bad things aren't happening in the world. What are you talking about? Things are like the recession's over, and like we're doing well, and like we have our first black president, and like gay marriage is now legalized, and all this shit. Like for them, it was probably very jarring. Whereas now we're like, we're
like, for sure,
the curtain has lifted. Like we know that things are fucked up, but let's just talk about it.
Well, it's also Well,
I was just going to say that is so interesting because I think the number one comment we get on any of our content is like, fine, I will rewatch Girls. Like, it's like an admission of like,
Fine.
oh, fine, this is good. Or like,
it is a fabulous show.
yeah, they're
there's a reason I binged it in 2.5 weeks.
Well, I think it's a show that speaks so differently to you at different points in your life as well.
I believe that.
Like, it's like we always talk about this, but like when you first watch it, your experience of it is, or at least when you're at a younger age, actually at any age, when you're rewatching a show and just like what we've gone through, it just speaks again more highly of like what actual experiences we're reflecting of now. And I mean, it's talking about things that everyday shows talk about now. Like if there's any group of 20 somethings that
in a TV show, maybe they're talking about snorting coke off some random guy's
Yeah.
No, literally, they're doing the same stuff now, just like written worse, and like they're all like some contrived character of like conglomerated like queerness.
Well, and I think that's what I appreciate, because with Girls, to have such intense conversations and like to be portraying such intense things, you have to make those characters equally as complex. Like you couldn't just have someone like, let's use Hannah for example, right? If her only ambition was like, I just have to be a writer, and she's doing all these things without like a motive, right? Or some sort of nuance underneath where, you know, we see through the layers, it's like, oh, she's doing a lot of these things to get that story because she's a writer and she has this sort of nervous, anxious tick, which is why she might be hyper, like you get to see the layers unfolding, as opposed to in some media, you're like, why does this person suck? What's their motive? What's their rationale? What's their reasoning behind this experience? Where I think Girls really submerses you from the beginning into their world and into their experience, where even when they're doing shitty things or like bad stuff, like karmic, like we're like, yeah, girl, you're getting yours, but you still kind of feel bad. Like there were moments where I was like, I don't want to feel bad for Hannah or Jessa right now, but I do.
No,
it's like Jessa is literally being evil, and we're still kind of like rooting for her.
I was like,
how'd they do
girl,
that?
Just get some help.
We need friend groups of 4 on every TV show, because you do more than that, you're kind of gonna overwrite a character. Like you need friend groups of 4, and they have boyfriends, and that's enough. That is actually all you can ask for. Because once you go more than that, nah, you're not gonna learn a lesson.
And if you go less than that, I think that it just becomes like too much of.
Like, it's kind of sketch comedy.
Like one narrative.
Yeah, it's like okay, Fleabag. I'd like to know about your dead friend a little bit more.
Well, and also Fleabag ended after 2 seasons, so I think that was a perfect.
I know.
Yeah.
We all look at the camera.
Bring it back. We love Fleabag.
I do think we need to wrap up here.
But this is Cole. The wisdom you shared with us today.
I'm literally in awe, and I can't wait to edit this episode so I can listen.
I want to learn more about astrology after this.
You're gonna listen back and be like, wait, this girl's actually an idiot.
No,
well,
I think I'm gonna be like
so
even smarter than I thought.
It was great because you know what? It also gave Amelia and I both the perspective of astrology, which we lacked. Like we don't understand anything really astrologically. So it's a really great way for even our listeners at home that don't know a lot about astrology to like understand it and really contextualize what each of the signs really means and connect it to a character. Like this is such an easier and fun way for people to learn about it.
And I think also fun for listeners if they have a certain sign and it ends up that their character is like,
sorry, Virgos.
Yeah. For all the Virgos listening, this one's for you.
For all the Virgos and the Leo moons out there.
Yeah.
This episode was for you.
But literally, I feel so much smarter and wiser. I think we might have to have you back on to learn more about the boys. Would you ever?
What's happening with the stars right now? Because we're feeling great. We're feeling good.
We're feeling jazz. It's eclipse season. I would love to come back and talk about the boys.
The boys and girls. That could be an amazing part too.
The boys of the girls, yeah.
But for now, thank you guys all so much for listening. Cole, thank you for being
a
genius. Cole is live and real. You can see them in person, drag, stand up, you name it.
We didn't even bring up Virgo rising. Vogue. Cole just won a Vogue No, wait, can I say it all over again? Cole just won a drag competition, and we'll have their own toy club coming at some point. And once they find a date, we'll be plugging it.
And their drag queen name is at Virgo Rising. Check them out. You can also. What's your normal at?
So my boy at my astrology. If you're interested in astrology, at JK it's Cole, JKITSCOLE, and then my drag one is JK it's Virgo. I'm a slut for branding. I have a degree in graphic design and marketing. And I was like, I have to do it.
Oh God, you're a genius. So we'll link everything below, but check them out. And we hope you enjoyed this episode. Please, as a reminder, video version is just on YouTube for now. Please rate and review us on Spotify or Apple, wherever you're listening. We really love reviews. And yeah.
All love.
Yay!